Welcome back. In episode 2 now, we're going to look at this strange word, Shaytan. You would expect that in the Qur'an it would follow the literary form which is found in other languages, which is simply Satan. So why have they gone for Shaytan? As you'd expect from the title, we're going to find the roots of this in Ethiopic. And I'm basing this from the paper by Manfred Kropp, Beyond Single Words. And this is episode 2. Now, you're all familiar with this poem or rhyme, nursery rhyme. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Now, what's interesting with this rhyme, it never really occurred to me when I was learning it as a kid, is it's very similar to the story of Adam and Eve, except it's reversed. Jack is playing the role of Adam and Jill the role of Eve, but you'll notice that Jack is the one that falls down first, and then Jill came tumbling after. So in the Adam and Eve story, of course, Eve is the one that falls first, followed by Adam. Whether there's any connection, I'm not sure, but it's an interesting parallel. Now, there's also another parallel, which we'll see in a moment, which is in relation to fetching a pail of water. So if you remember the Adam and Eve story, the serpent comes and tempts Eve, and here there's no reference to any serpent, but there is a reference to fetching a pail of water. Is there any linguistic link between the two stories? It seems quite incredible, but there is. It may be just coincidence, and these sort of things can happen in the context of intertextuality, but there is a strange link. Now, so according to Manfred Kropp, he says that Shaytan proves to be a more complex but equally illustrative example of a Quranic loanword. Let us start with the fact that there is a genuine Arabic root, Shaytan, with the general meaning fetching water from a well by means of a bucket and a rope. Shaytan, rope, then means in a metaphorical use snake or serpent. So we can see straight off that in Arabic there's this strange link that we can make between the Jack and Jill rhyme and the Adam and Eve story through the fetching water, because that's the symbolic link. The fetching water means, or the word that's used for that in Arabic is Shaytan, and of course in the Adam and Eve story we have the serpent. Okay, so Shaytan or rope then means in a metaphorical use snake or serpent, from where later on the link to the devil was made and was used as a proper name among pre-Islamic Arabs. These words originally have nothing to do with Quranic Shaytan, devil or Satan. So this is really just looking at the ancient etymological origin of the word. It wouldn't have had the more current connotation that you find in the Qur'an. And yet we have that rhyme. It'd be interesting to delve into the origins of that nursery rhyme. Where did that come from? Did that come from Arabia? Is there some ancient link somehow there? The coincidental link between fetching water from a well and the word Shaytan is a little unfortunate, considering the centrality of the Zamzam well. This is a picture from 1942, the stoning of Satan at Mina, before it was increased to 3 pillars. So there we have a sort of a loose link with Satan, Shaytan, with the Zamzam well in Mecca, and now we have another link with Satan in Mina. It's a very strange set of coincidences, isn't it? Now, the word Shaytan in the Qur'an is explainable as coming from the Ethiopic Bible, according to Mr. Kropp. He says the interesting and illuminating problem is the phonetic shape as Shaytan. The meaning, and lastly the word, is certainly taken from the well-known Satan, as present in nearly all the languages sharing a common religious and linguistic heritage with the Hebrew Bible. One could easily propose, and it would be a plausible proposal, to explain it as a kind of phonetic and popular etymological assimilation and adaptation into Arabic, but there is the fact of Ethiopic Shaytan in the Ethiopic Bible, which precedes the Qur'an, and moreover the fact that Al-Shaytan Al-Rajim is clearly not the stone devil, but the cursed one from Regum in Ethiopic. So just assuming that it came from the Ethiopic Bible, which is well within the means of an Arab in the 7th century, because of the nature of the trade between Ethiopia and Arabia, the strong links between Yemen and Aksum, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility, is it, that they would have just simply been influenced by the Ethiopic Bible here in the choice of words that they used. Now, Manfred says that either the translators preferred the popular form over the literary form, or it was because it was already used by the Ethiopians. He says the final assumption is that the missionaries and translators coming from Syria preferred, again, this hypothetical as of now popular form to literary Satan, unless this form was already received and used by the Ethiopian people at the time. I would tend towards the latter explanation. It's much more logical and doesn't require much explaining for the random choice of the popular usage over the literary usage. The simplest explanation is the Quranic writers followed the usage in the Ethiopic Bible. There's an example of Ethiopic there on the left hand side, and simply they drew from that, and it was used in the Qur'an. So imagining how this might have come about, the material of the Qur'an was written somewhere in the red rectangle in the picture, possibly in multiple locations. We haven't come down one way or other on the location. It's probably best explained as occurring in multiple locations. The key element is that this was where people were bilingual in Aramaic and Arabic in the 7th century. So any place really there. Al-Hira would be a good location, perhaps Damascus, perhaps Petra. Any of these places could have been the location where it was written, but it was probably written multiple locations. However, one of the writers could read the Ethiopic Bible too. This is not far-fetched considering the long relationship between Ethiopia and Arabia, and that's why they've chosen those words. Okay. Now, if we look at this table, it comes from Dr. Robert Kerr. If we look at the top one in the red box, number 3, that's Aramaic or Syriac script. It has some similarities with the Arabic script because the Arabic script has originated from it, but it is very different from number 7, which is the Ethiopic script. So it's hard to imagine how an Arab would be able to read number 7, but it isn't that far-fetched when we look at number 6, which is the South Arabic script, the Sabaic script. And if you compare them one by one, you'll see that a fair few of them are very similar. So there's that case, but also the fact that of a large amount of trade between both lands. And if you trade between your country and another country, the likelihood is that in order to trade, you're going to be able to speak with them in their language. And also a lot of things are written down, so you would become familiar with their script because things need to be written down when you're trading and so forth. So it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that the Ethiopic Bible was used by these people up in Syria, the Jordan, Iraq area, wherever the Quranic writers were writing. So that's it for episode 2. If you haven't yet seen episode 1, you can click the link above now. Thank you for watching.